All right, guys, what's going on? We are at the 2019 World Deer Expo in Birmingham, Alabama. This is your host, for now, Jacob Myers, Southern Outdoorsman. And here I've got both Greg and Drew from Wild Edge. Dude, what is going on with both of y'all?
What's happening, buddy?
Hey, man, it's been exciting so far, and it seems like it's been an awesome freaking day so far.
It's been
at the
busy.
show.
It's
been
been
a good
real
show.
busy. I mean, we haven't had a chance to sit down and got hours.
Yeah, which, hey, that's not a bad thing because y'all been doing demos. Y'all been having people up there doing demos all day long. And it's the crazy thing. I'll be talking to somebody. I'll turn around. There's a new person up on the Ridge Runner or the Perch or whatever every 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it's blowing up. I mean, we all know it's blowing up, but I mean, it's just it's unreal.
So it's exciting, which, something else exciting is about you guys releasing your new saddle. So I think it's a perfect segue kind of going over this. So, everybody has probably seen a little bit of teasers y'all been putting out, kind of bringing up that, hey, y'all got something coming out. So let's kind of go over your saddle. So kind of give us a little run through on what brought this design up and this is definitely based off the Flex, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times people look at it, and one of the first thoughts made is, well, man, it's not a whole lot different than the Flex, and there's a reason for that. Drew and I both were able to give input on the Flex, and obviously, we helped a little bit. We're not going to take too much credit for it, but we were able to approve some things and help there. So why reinvent the wheel when we come out with our own? I mean, we already gave a lot of ideas that we wanted there, so we're going to take that and incorporate it into our own design.
That's one of the biggest things that a lot of saddle owners talk about. One of my biggest pet peeves was sitting in a saddle and it's sliding up your back.
Yep.
So you're sitting there and you're jumping up the whole time, pulling it down. So the designer, Arrow Hunter Casey, Arrow Hunter and Holder, great company to work with, and Casey is an absolute genius. So I was talking to Casey. One of the first thoughts I was talking about was what can we do to prevent the saddle from sliding up? So I was thinking, like a rubbery material, something that would grip, something that would work, that wouldn't slide. And then, or do we make the seat bigger?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he said, all right, I got something for you to see. And that was the start of the pleated seat.
Yeah, which I think is an absolutely fantastic idea. And after having Jan over here and kind of going over it and actually kind of testing it out and seeing it for myself, it's fantastic because personally, when I first looked at the Flex, I thought it was like some kind of neoprene or something in between there that would actually flex. But really with that pleat like that, it allows for somebody to really kind of customize, whether they're a leaner or a sitter, how it adjusts and fits for them, especially
Right.
with that adjustable bridge, which is fantastic.
Yeah, one of the big things that I've told people, and it makes a lot of sense, I haven't really had very many people push back at all on this, is, no matter, irrespective of the brand of saddle you use, you walk into the woods, most of us had to buckle our belt above our hunting pants buckle. And that was due to the fact if we have dump pouches, accessory pouches, we've got ropes tied to them, if you've got them daisy chained, it doesn't matter. There's weight on your saddle, so you buckle it above your hunting belt walking in so you don't slip down in the woods. Then once you reach your tree, if you remember it at the base of your tree, you unhook and you go below the belt buckle. Most of the times, honestly, we remember about 20 foot high when we're at hunting height. And then you're a little unsafe because you're unbuckling, rebuckling at hunting height below the tree. And you had to do that because of what Drew said. The fabric's riding up on you while you're hunting. So you unbuckle and put the saddle lower to prevent that. Yep. With the design of the pleated seat and the Flex, you don't have to do that. It accomplishes both. You can walk in with it above your seat, above your belt buckle, and you still have fabric below going down and cupping you and preventing that riding up factor.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that because that was one issue I've had with the saddles I've used in the past, and it's just that issue of, like, you always got to remember, and a lot of times, like you said, you don't remember until you're up there.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
why does this not feel
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
you're like, oh, crap, that's freaking why it's too high. You got to readjust.
Yeah,
readjust
and
the belt.
then that split second when you unbuckle and buckle, you're not really safe. So it's a split second, but accidents happen in a split second.
Exactly, and actually, when I had Jan on earlier, we were talking about the reflective material in the actual linesman belt loops, because a guy we kind of know from Saddle Hunter, he unfortunately this fall was climbing, and on the way up, he was using his linesman belt, and took it out to go around a branch, clipped it back on. Well, instead of clipping it back on the linesman loop, he hooked it onto his belt loop. And
Yep.
when he went to pull back, it broke and he fell.
Yep.
And actually, I think he broke a couple ribs and actually punctured his back with one of the steps.
Right.
So unfortunately, that's what happened. But again, that's one thing that I think this saddle provides a lot of safety features that are very subtle, like the reflective material, especially
Right.
going in, before daylight and then coming out at dark. I think that's extremely important.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Talk about safety factors. We actually had Casey design the D loop here on the belt. You'll see how it sticks up and stands up.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's mainly for any other loop. It was so small, it was sewn together at the bottom that if you had a rope with a figure 8 on it, you couldn't get it through and then through itself instead of using 2 carabiners. So yeah, that was from the Evo. And then we got rid of the molly loops on the back, the small molly loops, because Just one of our techniques. When I'm climbing, my whole plan is start at the bottom, go up, never have to come back down, never have to pull anything up. Everything is attached to me on my body. So as simple as hanging my bow off the back loop.
Really?
Yep. Or hanging, a dump pouch. Or even I hang my backpack on a back loop for when I'm taking my camera gear out or everything, instead of putting it between your legs and worrying about it falling down or trying to attach it. So the whole fluid motion of having everything in order. And so the back molly loops were a huge deal for me, but I wanted to be able to brainlessly take carabiner, go behind my back, know where the loop is, and snap it in.
Mm-hmm.
So we created these bigger loops they're a lot bigger, but they're still flat to the actual belt. And then these 2 extra loops right here, actually the perch slips right into that.
Which I think is fantastic. And after kind of seeing that, I remember you kind of put some photos out there on that, and I was wondering if that was going to be the case, because I saw previously y'all were doing some videos and stuff, and it seemed like somehow a perch was attached to the back of you, and I was wondering how that was happening. So that is really cool. Again, for anybody that's using the Wild Edge steps and using that perch, to have it attached to you, so when you're climbing up, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to have it tied to your backpack or whatever. Come back, pull it off, and snap it in. Good to go.
Yeah. We also have the molly loops down here by the bridge, just for a little extra, and then that's the gist of it.
Yeah, our goal was really to design a system that was cohesive and worked together as a whole system. So obviously, you start off with the steps, which was the foundation of Wild Edge. Everything's built off that platform is the step ladder system. The perch fits into a step. The perch also fits into the new Wild Edge saddle. So everything operates as a cohesive system.
Oh, yeah, and I absolutely love that. And one thing, again, coming to this system and really trying out, like a Kestrel, I was telling Jan before we got started that the first time I ever sat in a Arrow Hunter saddle was this past May up at Matt's place in Oklahoma. He let me try one of his Kestrels. Freaking blew my mind, dude.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'll admit, the reason I got into saddle hunting, which before, I've talked about this before, I was like one of the biggest deniers, haters of saddles. I was running a Lone Wolf for 5 years, Lone Wolf lock on and sticks, and I thought this can't be safe, it can't be reliable, and it can't be comfortable.
Yep.
And I bought my system, which I bought a Mantis, really just because of the social media hype.
Sure.
That was it. And that's what kind of introduced me to the saddle world. But the thing is, as a lot of people had said, everything fits different. Like, again, I'm wearing Timberland boots. Some guys are wearing cowboy boots, whatever. It's whatever fits your comfort.
Right.
That system works great for some guys. For other guys like myself, there was times when it was a pain, especially with the rolling the belt. The belt would roll on me. I'm a bigger guy. It wasn't very comfortable. With the cool thing about this, having the larger webbing belt, and it's more rigid, to me it's more comfortable as a bigger guy to be able to put that on and not have to have it twisted, not have it buckling up. It actually gives me more support, like core support, and I love that. And also just the rigidity of the actual seat itself is fantastic. That's another reason I love it.
Yeah, you could take 20 guys to saddle hunt and put them in the same room, and everyone's going to, even if they have the same equipment, they're going to use it differently and have their different setup. So, there's something for everyone out there. So if I've never been a lightweight gear guy. 2 pound difference, 5 pound difference to me is not a big deal. But when we talk about 8 pounds to 25 pounds, yeah, that's a difference. But a couple pounds, to me it didn't matter. So 2.5 pound, wasn't a big enough reason to be worried about it. So.
I'll agree. Well, I think what happens to a lot of people is you're coming from a tree stand where you're like, oh, I want to go ultralight. And you try to go for the most lightweight thing. Then you get it, you use it. You're like, okay, usable, but maybe I want to go back to a little bit more comfort. Maybe I want to go back to something a little more rigid, just something different. And then they start trying different things like y'all's product. And it kind of just changes their mind. That's what happened to me. Because, again, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, come into the saddle game, like myself, think that everything's the same.
Yeah.
They all kind of look similar just somewhat, and they think they're all made the same quality, same material. And that's why I think a lot of people, they try a saddle like, oh, it wasn't comfortable. Because either it wasn't fitted to them, they didn't adjust it, they didn't do anything like that. Maybe they had somebody that helped them put it on but didn't explain anything about it, and they're up there and they don't feel safe with it. Or they buy a product because of all the hype, and then they go with it, and it's not exactly what they thought. And, again, they kind of assume everything else is the same. That was my problem. Because, again, I thought, the Kestrel was like that. I thought the Kite was like that. And, again, I tried a Kestrel, and it blew my mind.
Yeah, and sometimes just the standards that we take as status quo, you got to work around those. We had a guy in our booth just a little bit ago. He was probably had a 42-inch waist. Normally, that would automatically be a size 2 when you're looking at Arrow Hunter sizing, right? You got size 1, 34 and below, 35 and above is size 2. He was about a 42-inch waist. He tried a size 2 on it, swallowed him.
Yeah.
And we put him in a size 1, which would go against industry norms, the status quo. Loved it. He completely blew his mind and goes, "This is for me." But it took moving him from a size 2 to a size 1, which most people wouldn't do.
Yeah.
So you just got to be open-minded about it.
Exactly, and I think a lot of things that when someone comes to the saddle world, whether because this is becoming more popular this day and age, which I think it is, because I didn't find out about saddles until about 3 years ago. And again, when I first found out about them, I'm like, dude, there's no way. That's not for me.
Right.
I'm a tree stand guy. Then I bought one out of Gear Envy, which I've talked about on the podcast, because my buddy Andrew bought one. So I'm like, I got to buy one. I bought one. First couple sits was horrible just because I didn't know how to use it correctly.
Right.
I had it way too high on my back. I talked about it with Tyler Chamberlain before, that it was like wearing a giant diaper because it was up on my back, this uncomfortable. Then I adjusted and got better and better. But the cool thing is, with this industry and with this style of hunting, there's options out there that a lot of people just don't realize, and they don't realize the difference. Again, they look at it, they're like, this looks similar to XYZ, so it's got to fit like XYZ, and that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that's like the defining factor, especially around the quality the arrow hunters providing, kind of going further. And that's one reason I'm excited about y'all's saddle, because y'all put your own little touch to it, which makes it your own and makes it for people that are using, not only your products, but your same mindset of, hey, we're not necessarily worried about going ultralight. We want to have comfortable. We want to have safety. We want to have something that's reliable, and that's what this is.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, a little bit more about the saddle. What are we looking at for a possible release date, kind of going further with this?
That's all up in the air right now.
Okay.
Working our hardest to make things happen. So I'm not going to put anything set in stone right now. But we'll have more information this coming week. So I say let everyone just follow us on social media, on our website, and we'll make it clear when it's going to happen.
Fantastic. And has there been any talk about pricing, or is that still up in the air as well?
That's still up in the air as well, but it'll be very similar to the Flex.
Awesome. All right, perfect. And where can people kind of follow along with you guys, especially on social media?
You can find us anything Wild Edge on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, wildeddgeinc.com.
Fantastic. Well,
and YouTube channel. Just search Wild Edge Inc.
Yep.
Any questions you have, start with the YouTube channel, social media. Feel free to reach out to us on any social media platform, email, and we'll make sure we can answer any questions you got.
Well, fantastic. Well, I appreciate you guys sitting down with me today, kind of going over all this. It's exciting. It's exciting to see what's going forward in this year with saddle hunting. It's exciting for all of us. So, guys, make sure you check out Saddle Hunter on the website and everything, but also make sure you check out Wild Edge and see what the cool products they got coming out lately. So,
awesome.
Guys, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.